All right, ATM Hotep, peace to everyone in the chat. Appreciate anyone who was tuned in, who got the notifications, and you have the time to hang out for a little bit, and you clicking and you're actually watching now. Shout out to Donnie Williams, Robert Rand, Brother Sadiq, Brother Craig Amin Ra, Teddy, what's up? Wasir Ma'at Ra Saneferu. So shout out to all you all. This is who I can see in the chat right now. So again, ETM Hotep, welcome and peace. This is your brother Wujawu Meneb Ma'at, and you're tuned into the Sesh Netcher YouTube channel. All right, so this early evening or late afternoon is going to be a quick one. I just want to do a live meeting one review, and to kind of continually announce and let everyone know that we do have a book club going on, and yesterday was our first meeting. All right. So the book that you see on the screen right now is our first publication that we're dealing with. So it's by Cambridge. It's a series of books called Cambridge Elements, Ancient Egypt in Context. And this is the first one that we're dealing with. But I believe there are a total of 9 books in this series. And this one is entitled Ethnic Identities in the Land of the Pharaohs by Yerosh Matic. All right. Now, I chose this first publication for us to deal with based on or inspired by the continual conversations that we see pop up from time to time, almost seasonal. And that conversation being the identity of the ancient Egyptians, whether they're white, whether they're black, whether they're something else, whether they're Mediterranean, whether they're African, whether they're Middle Eastern, or you name it. And so that seems to occupy a lot of people's minds to the point where people will argue, fuss, and fight over those issues from time to time. All right. So to put it all in perspective and to actually move the conversation in a progressive way, I chose this particular book because it actually tackles those topics head on. And it's a very, very good book. It's easy to read. It's not very long. I believe the paperback version has 110 pages, I believe. The Kindle version is different. And so that's the version that most of us are dealing with. But it's a good read. And I've read the book already. It came out, I believe, late last year. And I bought it as soon as it came out. So that was my recommendation. And so we had our first meeting yesterday, June 12th. And so as it stands now, we're going to be meeting every Sunday at 12 noon. And we meet for an hour. All right. To keep it short, concise. And the way that we go about it is we prior to meeting, we would read. We have a reading range of pages. And so we'll read first during the week at people's own time and at their leisure. And then when we get together, we're basically doing a review and discussion. And so anything that may be confusing or misunderstood, we're able to just have a good discussion about it. And then we can get everybody else's perspectives on what was read and what we covered. And to me, in my experience, in my educational schooling experience, that seems to be a very solid way of digesting information, especially things like this. All right, it's a proven method to acquiring knowledge, and having a real wholesome understanding of different things. All right, plus you do it as a group. You don't feel like you're alone, and you get different perspectives, and some things you may read and not have a take on it that somebody else will, and it will just add to your range of how you view things. And it's just overall a better way to go about doing it. All right. So again, just want to do something quick now and do a quick review for those who have missed out. And for those who may just have not may have been interested or sound like something you're interested in terms of the book club, but you didn't actually commit yet, as of yet. All right. So, so the first thing I want to do, as you can see on the screen on the right hand side, you see Seba University since 2015, and so a few people, well, I think two people actually asked me about Seba University, and I guess it's new to them, but Seba University is not new. I've had it since 2015. That's why you see it says since 2015. Um, Now, although it says Seba University, it's not a college university that you see as far as websites, um, such as Howard University, Cambridge University, Harvard University, Yale University, and things like that. And so somebody asked me, "Is it that?" And I kind of know why they asked me that, because of the some of the silliness that goes on and on other um, platforms and things like that. But just to make it clear, Seba University is simply an online educational environment. It's a place where we can go, um, gather, meet, engage each other in a comfortable learning environment. It's specifically made for the learning environment without the other extras that you see on different platforms, and on social media, where it's not very conducive for education and expanding the body of knowledge. All right. So the very word Seba or Sabah is an ancient Egyptian word that deals with education. It's a word that relates to the word for student. It also relates to the word for teacher, instructions, education, discipline, discipleship, and things of that nature. So Sabah has to do with everything dealing with learning. And then university is simply university. It's the environment. So it is actually the learning environment. And it's a website, saberuniversity.com. And so I'm just going to share the screen real quick. Here's the website itself. This is the homepage of the website. And um, the way that we've made the website is that it has a community section. It's very similar to Facebook, how Facebook is. So on the website, there are courses and quick lessons. Most of them are absolutely free. I had moved long ago. I had moved the beginner's introduction to Egyptian hieroglyphic, or Sesh Netcher, to this website where people can register, and it's through this website where I engage for the classes, the beginner's level of Sesh Netcher classes. And so I've done that since 2015. So that's why you see Seba University since 2015, and it's not new. But we've since expanded it to have a community very similar to Facebook. But in terms of the courses, if you click on courses, you'll see transliteration and translation, a quick lesson in transliteration and translation, a quick lesson on grammatical gender and Rodney Kemet. Has the Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system been deciphered? A quick lesson on portmanteau morphs in Rodney Kemet, how to look up hieroglyphic words in dictionaries, logical reasoning, theory of evolution, beginner's introduction to Egyptian hieroglyphic, and a quick lesson on reading hieratic jar labels. And so myself and Emiket, we have created these quick lessons slash courses so far, but we're going to be expanding it and getting other instructors and teachers to actually contribute their courses, and they can choose to monetize it or not. All right. And so out of all of these that you already see, most of these are free. The beginners is $100, and then the logic and reasoning is $10. All right. And so the point is obviously not to get rich. It's definitely not a get rich or anything like that. These are the prices here are a reflection of just simply acquiring resources and maintaining resources to run the website and to actually be creative and build more quizzes and lessons and things of that nature. All right. So that's just a quick tour of the courses. But in terms of the community, as I said, the community is designed very, very similar to Facebook, where you have a timeline or news feed. Then you have your own personal profile, personal timeline, and news feed. Then you have groups, just like Facebook has Facebook groups. Well, Seba University also has groups. Right now, we only have 2, but we can expand it to however many that we need based on different interests. And so the Seba University Book Club is a group. And so, but first, let me log in so you all can see it real quick. So if I sign in, go to the sign in page and sign in, and it will take me back to the home page, and I'm signed in. So now I'm gonna go to the groups, and I'll be able to enter the group, and you'll be able to just see, just so you all can see very quickly of how it looks, very similar to Facebook. Everybody's used to Facebook. So I'm going to go to Seba University Book Club. And this is the group for the book club. So everyone who has enrolled in the book club, which is free, by the way, also join this group, because this is where we can communicate and make sure everyone is aware of any schedule changes or anything like that, discussions and whatnot. So as you can see, this is very similar to how Facebook, it has a cover image, and then the group's timeline where you post everything. All right. And the members that are in here. So now, so far, we have 31 people that are in the book club. All right. And so we have 13 members in the group. So if you are in the book club and you haven't joined the group yet, make sure you join the group. All right. So make sure you join the group. Okay. So that was just a quick tour. I just wanted to inform people of that. So let's get back over here. So now, in terms of the actual review, so today yesterday, Sunday, we met and we spent an hour, and it was really good. It was really good build session. And so what I want to do is to kind of give you all a heads up on this particular publication and what we went over. I do want to read the introduction, which is what we read yesterday. I feel that I want that everyone should know this, because this book and the topic that's associated with it has been polarized in the so-called conscious community for a long time. It's been over 50 years, really, being addressed in various different ways across, academia and various different scholarly works and things of that nature. So I'm going to share, I just want to share the introduction to this book. So I'm going to read the introduction and share it with you all if you don't have the book. And if you don't have the book, and even if you're not, or you're not able to participate in the book club, or even if you're just not interested in participating in the book club, hopefully you're at least interested in this topic and get the book. Okay, I have nothing to do with the book in terms of I have no stake in the book or whatever, but it's a very good book, and it's a must-have on this particular topic. So this topic, if you're worried about the identity of the ancient Egyptians, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're purple, brown, pink, yellow, and whether they're Mediterranean, Asian, European, African, or Martian, this book is definitely a must-have. All right. So with that out the way, I'm just going to share. Let me unshare that. And I'm going to share the actual book. And I want to just go through the introduction. I want to get it to the point where you all can see it. Hopefully you all can see it well enough with me. You all can read along with me. But I want to read this introduction because the introduction alone sets the stage. It's an intro to the text, and it actually lays a good foundation for the rest of the book. And if you don't have it yet, or you kind of lukewarm, one foot in, 1 foot out, hopefully me sharing this introduction will get you to make a decision one way or the other to get involved or at least get the book and check it out. I will say this: anyone who is in the middle of arguing the identity of the ancient Egyptians, whether they're white, black, no matter what side of the argument you're on, if you read this book and you still find yourself arguing and whatnot, then seek therapy. just book an appointment and seek therapy. Just look online and look for psychologists, psychiatrists, or what have you. Just book an appointment and get help. That's all I can say is get help. All right. Because this book, now I'm not saying this book is an end all be all, but this book certainly will eliminate 90% of all of these arguments that you see online. They become unnecessary. It is absolutely a waste of time. All right. So let me just share a few of these pages here. Get my cursor over here. So again, the book is called Ethnic Identities in the Land of the Pharaohs by Medew. And it was done, I'm trying to find the copyright date so you all can see. It was done in 2020. Really? 2020. All right. I thought it was put out last year. All right. So 2020, there you have it, 2020. First published online November 2020. All right. Well, I got it last year. So, all right. So let me get to the introduction. First, the table of contents is broken up into 5 sections, as you can see. The introduction. Section 2 is from race to culture and people, Egyptology of the 19th and early 20th century. Number 3, ethnic identity, recent perspectives in Egyptology. Number 4, third science revolution. And 5, concluding remarks. But I just want to go through the introduction live with you all because it really sets the stage and to give you some a teaser on the rest of the book. So I'm going to read this and share this with you all. Y'all can read with me and whatnot and just sit back and take it in. So ethnic identities in the land of the pharaohs. Let me make sure it's big enough. I think I could probably make this bigger. Give me 1 second. See how I can do this. Zoom in. And it will not allow me to zoom in. Wow. Ain't that something? All right, let's see if it will allow me. Nope, it only allows me to make the text bigger and not the actual screen itself. All right, so, well, hopefully you all can see well enough. And that's a shame. That is a shame. Let me see. I'm trying to work this out. Try to work this out. Let's see if I can make this, stretch this out. And then make this bigger. Nope. Aha. There we are. Okay, that is definitely big. All right. So we'll work with this. All right, so we'll go from here. Hopefully it didn't miss anything. All right, so again, ethnic identities in the land of the pharaohs. All right, so introduction. This element, because remember they call these books elements in this series. This element introduces, and if y'all can see my cursor, I'm down here. This element introduces various readers to ancient Egyptian collective identity and Egyptological research on ethnicity. So right off the rip, the author tells you what the book is going to do. All right. To continue, the chronological boundaries will not play a significant role here. Still, each case discussed in the text will be chronologically and geographically framed. Most of the provided examples are from the 3rd and 2nd millennium BC in Egypt and Nubia, which is the period of my scholarly interest. However, as this element should serve to give readers an overview of the works on ethnic identity and ethnicity in Egyptology, examples from the 1st millennium BC are also provided. It is not possible to summarize ancient Egyptian history in great detail in a single passage without using Egyptology-specific terms such as dynasties, kingdoms, or intermediate periods. Still, several phases of Egyptian history are referred to throughout this element, and it is therefore necessary to summarize them. The formation of the ancient Egyptian state. Now, I want you all to pay attention here because, well, pay attention to everything. So I'm not even going to single out any one thing because you need to pay attention to everything. So let me stop doing that. To continue, the formation of the ancient Egyptian state started around 3200 BC in the Nakada region in Upper Egypt. Now, I got to pause here. It's the same thing I discussed yesterday with the everyone in the book club. Is a lot of what I'm reading here is gonna match up and coincide with things that you've heard me say and others say for years, all right, and shown and demonstrated, all right. So I'm not gonna take time to point all those things out, but just bear that in mind. The Nakada region in Upper Egypt, by around 3000 BC. This proto-state expanded to include Lower Egypt and established domination over southern Levant. It had also contact and conflict with the population of Lower Nubia. Around 2700 BC began a period of monumental funerary constructions, pyramids, building of monumental temples, and expeditions to foreign lands such as Byblos in Lebanon, Nubia or Sudan, and Punt at the Horn of Africa. Around 2200 BC, the state lost control of its provinces, where local rulers slowly but surely took over. The domain of the successor state was limited to Lower Egypt. In Upper Egypt, local rulers of Thebes managed to defeat their rivals and form their own kingdom. They eventually defeated the state in Lower Egypt and united the land around 2055 BC. Since the unification, more investment is seen in monumental architecture again. So let me stop for a second. Although the author didn't mention the intermediate period per se right there, this is a summary of the chronology, and he's talking about the state formation, the defragmentation of the state, the intermediate period, and then the unification once again, and then it repeats. And so that's what you're going to be hearing me say. Military fortresses were built in Lower Nubia to support expeditions and diminish the threat from even further south, which would be from Kerma in Upper Nubia. Eastern Delta, a corridor to Egypt with mixed population since prehistory, became the entry point for population from the Levant. There is evidence for close ties with Byblos. Around 1800 BC, the state again lost its power in the provinces and its fortresses in Lower Nubia. Rulers of foreign origin, known as the Hyksos, took over the control of Eastern Delta and later on of the entire Lower Egypt. The kingdom of Kush, centered in Kerma, took control of Egyptian military fortresses in Lower Nubia. The kings centered in Thebes now had to fight the Hyksos state in the north and the kingdom of Kush in the south. They eventually defeated their rivals and united the land around 1550 BC. So that's another unification. This is when a period of expansion began. Egypt took control of both Levant and Nubia. All right, so the Egyptians were like, nah, we're not having that anymore. We're going to expand. The Egyptians settled in Nubia and built military fortresses in the Levant. Egypt had close contacts with the Aegean polities from the 15th to the 14th century BC, but also conflict with state Mitanni and eventually with the Hittite state, in which it lost control of the northern Levant. Conflicts with the Libyans in the west and the incursions of various groups of sea people, marauders, brought new challenges to the pharaohs. Around 1100 BC, Egypt lost control of its domains in both Levant and Nubia and faced internal fractured rule, as it also lost control of Thebes, where priests of Amun became powerful. The state in this period was divided between the kings of Egypt ruling in Lower Egypt and the priest and god Amun ruling in Middle and Upper Egypt. A rival state was slowly but surely also forming in Nubia, now under control of the locals. Around 950 BC, Egypt was united again for a century or so, and after that again fell into a fragmentary state, with several parallel dynasties and rulers of Libyan origin controlling different parts of the country. Around 750 BC, the Nubian rulers took this opportunity and defeated different dynasties in Egypt, establishing a double kingdom. This is the famous so-called black pharaohs, Nubian pharaohs and whatnot. They were in war with Assyria, which was their downfall around 670 BC. Egypt was left to a local dynasty which ruled the country until around 530 BC, when the Achaemenid Persian Empire expanded to Egypt. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great defeated Persian-controlled Egypt, and a Ptolemaic state was formed in 305 BC and ruled by a dynasty of Macedonian origin. This dynasty was eventually a client state of Rome and was defeated in 31 BC by Octavian August, who made Egypt into a Roman province in 30 BC. From 4th to 6th century AD, Christian Roman Egypt was a diocese, regional governance district in the late Roman Empire. Around 650 AD now, it was conquered by the Arabs. During this more than 3,000 year long history, both how ancient Egyptians viewed themselves and others and which foreigners lived among them was changing. Therefore, three main questions will be addressed in this element. So this is important because he gives this chronological timeline and a brief summary of it to open your mind to understand the challenges when it comes to how the Egyptians saw themselves versus foreigners, and this collective identity that we like to refer to as ethnicity and things of that nature. All right. So just want to let you all know. Oops. Flip back. So he breaks it down into three main questions. Question number 1, or A. How did ancient Egyptians understand their own collective identity in comparison to their neighbors and other foreigners? And can this be translated into a modern concept such as ethnic identity? Answering this question is important because we need to balance ancient concepts and our own translations of these concepts into our own vocabulary and theoretical discourses. All right, that's very important. B, how did early scholars in the 19th and early 20th century approach ancient Egyptians and their neighbors, and are these remnants of their ideas in contemporary Egyptology? The reason this question has to be addressed is that more often than not, certain ideas belonging to a disciplinary past emerge in a new form in contemporary scholarship. That's what people tend to forget. And you'll hear me you'll hear me say these things, but in a different way, where I talk about breasted, Petri, and things like that, and their scholarly works and how they viewed and wrote about ancient Egypt, and how we're always having a contention with those things. And then when people come along and want to argue, fuss, and fight, but don't actually study this, they want to refer to quote unquote experts or what's the scholarly consensus among Egyptologists and so on and so forth. But they go back to the disciplinary past, and they stay stuck there, and they don't understand how these works or Egyptology is organically, in real time, always expanding and changing based upon new evidence, new information, and you really have to be keep up with it. Anyway, C. How do modern scholars approach various groups inhabiting the Egyptian Nile Valley? Are contemporary discussions on ethnic identity useful in approaching ancient Egypt? We need to critically reflect on the concepts we use in order to better understand how they form our interpretations and what we can do to balance the pre-modern to modern dichotomy. All right, so that's very important. So you see, he lays out these three main questions because these three main questions are going to be addressed and answered in the book. Then he goes on to talk about the categories of evidence. All right, and so let me just see. So I'm not going to read all of this because this is what we did yesterday. Because it's our first meeting, we didn't have any prior reading assignments, reading range. So I just read this live, and I'm not going to do that again. But I'm going to point out the categories themselves. So he lays out the categories of evidence in being used to answer these questions and to deal with the overall title, the ethnic identities in the land of the Pharaohs. So one category one, are visual sources. Okay, then he explains the pros and cons of visual sources. And like I said, I'm not going to read it all, but it's definitely worth reading. Number two are written sources and the pros and cons of the written sources, which you see here. Three, foreign material culture in ancient Egypt, and then ancient Egyptian material culture in foreign territories or foreign contexts. So he gives the pros and cons of that. That's number three. Number four, skeletal remains. All right. So, and skeletal remains being identified in the Egyptian geographical territories and in foreign territories. And then he goes through the pros and cons of that. Then he goes on to define terms, which is very important. In any research discipline, any scholarly discipline, you have what's called a nomenclature, which is done in every field of study in order to eliminate ambiguity, because words may have different meanings to different people in different contexts. So every scholarly discipline sets forth more surgical and more precise meanings of key terms within the discipline. And they govern the discipline, they govern the discussions, they govern the growth of the knowledge for that particular discipline, etc., where everyone knows what everyone means within that discipline. Okay, and so those terminologies and their definitions are to be respected. First, you have to know them, then you have to respect them and utilize them as within their context. And so he goes forward and sets forth some terms. All right, and so number one, he talks about ancient Egypt itself. What is considered ancient Egypt in terms of geography, territory, and so on and so forth. So he discussed that. Like I said, I'm not going to read it all, but he discusses the definition of ancient Egypt, basically. What is it? Then he goes and he talks about race. What is that about? And how does that apply? Number 3, archaeological culture. All right. That's number 3. And he goes on to explain that. Number 4, ethnicity. Okay. You have to define ethnicity if you're going to write a book about ethnic identities. All right. So ethnicity is discussed and defined. Then that's a lengthy. Then number 5 is habitus. All right. He defines that. All right. And I want you all, and it's very important that he does that, because habitus in anthropology and archaeology and things is very important. And we have to keep that in mind where you find materials. Okay. Where you find things. So that's very important. And that's it. So that's the term. So that was the 5th one, and that's the term that he highlighted and defined for the work ahead. So then it goes into being Egyptian and being foreign. All right. And so this is where we left off yesterday in terms of collectively reading. But just to kind of flip through this for you all, this whole section is that I just flipped through is being Egyptian and being foreign, the distinctions between that. And then it's, as you can see here, chapter 2 is from race to culture and people, Egyptology of the 19th and early 20th century. And so in section 2.1, Egyptology and scientific racism. Now, like I said, I've read this book already, and I'm going to tell you, this section right here is definitely going to wake people up. It's going to be a reminder for a lot of people, but it's going to also be very, very interesting, especially when he goes over the scientific racism involved in scholarship in general for a certain time period, but specifically in Egyptology. All right, and it's going to make you say, well, wait a minute now. All these people out here, in the YouTube streets, arguing, fussing, and fighting, talking about consensus and experts and this and that, you're gonna say, well, wait a minute now, we definitely gonna have to vet and understand. Like you're definitely gonna understand why I always say that Kemet, ancient Egypt, whatever name you want to call it, cannot, should not, and should never be microwaved. And it's not just Kemet, but all of these academic-like discussions and scholarly-like discussions, they should never be microwaved. They should never be discussed in the way and manner in which they're being discussed on the various different social media platforms and YouTube things. That's detrimental to any progress. And you're definitely going to understand why I say that after reading this book in its entirety, but even just this section right here. You're definitely going to get what I'm saying and why it's important. But anyway, so I'm not going to read any more of it, but just to show you a few of the sections, we have 2.11 craniometry. Now you know how important cranial studies of skulls and things. Would you get the whole Negroid, Caucasoid, and things like that back in the day? That's no longer used. Then you have the Hamitic question. All right, y'all know about the Hamitic hypothesis and all that. So he goes into that. Then 2.13 scientific racism and ancient Egyptian depictions of foreigners. Okay, so he goes into the lookership aspect, or what we would call lookership. All right. Then 2.2 Egyptology, culture, historical archaeology, and ethnic identity. So in here he has two things: culture, historical, and then culture something else, and he shows the pros and cons with those. All right, so that's 2.2, and just want to go through. As a matter of fact, let me just click on here instead of flipping through that. So that's 2.3 is a hidden theory. Then we go into chapter 3, ethnic identity, recent perspective in Egyptology. So the subsections are the primordial approach. Then we have the instrumentalist approach. Then we have topos and mimesis. Then Egyptianness and foreignness. See, we have the habitus and ethnic identity. So we have, what does it mean to be an Egyptian, and what was that about? That Egyptianness conceptualization, and then the foreignness. What makes a foreigner, and how can a foreigner lose their foreignness and gain Egyptianness, and vice versa? So those things we don't discuss, but like I said, in this book, it tackles it head on. Then you have post-colonial theory and ethnic identity. Okay, we got the colonialism of Africa and things like that. Hybridism, mimicry, and then something called third space that he goes into. And then intersectionality. And then number 4, third science revolution, which covers archaeology and the third science revolution, and then Egyptology in the third science revolution. And then he goes through a whole section on concluding remarks, basically where he's does a review and gives some conclusionary commentary. All right, so that's there. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you all to let you know what we're on about right now, and what the book club is starting off with. So again, the Seba University book club is on and popping now. We started yesterday, and we're going to meet every Sunday at 12 noon. So we meet for an hour. So from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. If you have time and you have the interest, sign up is free and join us. All right. That's what we're going to be doing. Right. So far it's 37 people, which is great. I mean, I didn't even expect that many people to join in, which is me being pessimistic. So now I'm changing. I'm optimistic now, because I'm trying to promote reading, because people do not read like they used to. Like I don't, I'm trying to look back in the past, and I don't see people reading like we used to collectively. Like I just don't see it anymore. And I'm actually seeing people who refuse to read, who refuse to study, who refuse to read. And then I see people who may have a lot of books, but they don't. I'm not sure. Like you have to question whether they comprehend those books or what they read and things, just based on discussions and things. Just been my experience on social media since for the past 12 years now. But anyway, so hopefully you all got a quick gist of that, and that's pretty much it. So that's all I wanted to share. So I'm just gonna kind of check out the chat. And again, I appreciate anybody tuned in. Just want to do a quick live stream on the start of the book club. And if you missed out, it's never too late. Get the book. You can catch up at any point, anytime. All right. This is not this is not a college course where you can be graded or now. Oh, speaking of though, Emiket is designing a course out of it, so that and it's designed so that you will know if you've retained and understood what you've read. So she's going to be designing that and make that available to everybody in the book club, and we're going to do that for every book that we cover. So that's an extra bonus. That's an extra step. So not only do we collectively go through it and have a nice build session, build ciphers about what we're reading, but we're going to also set up quizzes for each book title that we actually walk through. That way, you know, hey, all right, yeah, I'm good. I understand it. I got it. And you can share the information. You know, when you know better, you do better if you can. And at the very least, when you know better, at least you can inform others and correct others if other people make mistakes or share information. All right. So let me just dig into the chat real quick. So I appreciate anybody tuned in. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in. I'm gonna scroll back as far as I can and see if there were any comments and things I need to address. And while I have that on this, while I'm looking through that, let me just make sure to inform you all of our upcoming mobile app. So with the website, we also have a mobile app that's a native mobile app. So you'll be able to download it from Apple Store and Android or Google Play and have it on your phone. So that means that everything we do, all the courses that you could sign up, the ones that's there now, the ones that's in the future, and all that good stuff will be at your fingertips no matter where you go, no matter what time of day. All right. So just like Facebook, and it's made like Facebook. So you know how Facebook, if you're at your desktop computer or tablet, you log into Facebook and you post things, you read whatever. Then you have the Facebook mobile app that's connected to the Facebook in general. So the same thing you see on your desktop Facebook, obviously you're going to see in the mobile app version of Facebook. So this is no different. So everything on the website of Seba University is also going to be at your fingertips as a mobile app. All right. That way you can do what you got to do on the go. All right. So be on the lookout for that. That's coming soon in this month. All right. So we're working on it, and that should be out. And trust me, I will definitely let everyone know. All right. And you can download it. And it's free. The download is free. All right. I don't want to hear any excuses. Okay. So let me get through these through the comments. So we had Brother Boom says, I got that book on Adobe. Okay, good. How you like it so far? How far did you get? Let me know. All right, Brother Ramza is saying, Africans first always until they mess up. Okay, maybe you all are having a different conversation. My motto goes for all races though. But again, Africans first. All right. I mean, everybody has their choice. You know, their prerogative. You say Africans first, Asians who have an affinity to Asia will say Asians first. You know, hey. Let's see. Keep on going. All right. Boom says, in Luo, do you guys mind if I take pics and send it to the Sesh email so you can have a look? I can do that at the end of the day. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but boom, feel free. Feel free to email. All right. Feel free to email. I wonder what's written on it. Oh, you have a picture of something. Yeah. Email it. Email it, or if you're on Facebook, inbox. All right. I'm on Facebook under the same name, Wujao. All right, if anybody needs to find me on Facebook. Cool, I'll get an email on the website, the ceramic map. Okay, yeah, so let me kind of straighten you out. For that. Brother Sean is in the building. Okay, TV Ododo. I've corresponded with Eurosmatic. He is interesting, for lack of a better word, in my opinion. Okay. You know what? That's interesting because I've also corresponded with Eurosmatic as well. So you say he's interesting. So yeah, you may have more insight about him. And let's see. Eurosmatic is interesting based on my interactions with him. Okay. Maybe you can elaborate if you don't mind. If you can elaborate on that. I'm scrolling down, y'all. I'm scrolling down, just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. Sundiata, I'll have to catch replay. Okay. Boom. Question. He says, when it comes to the depictions on the wall, if we ignore the skin color and focus on their dress, hairstyles, and the accompanying text, is that not still lookership? Boom. Just to make it clear, lookership is a term that's been made popular in the so-called conscious community. All right. So lookership comes with the idea of people just using what they can see to come to conclusions rather than digging under the surface and doing further investigation. So when something is called lookership, it's more so the way it's used in the so-called conscious community is that it means that you microwave something. You didn't really investigate something thoroughly as you should. That's the connotation of lookership. But now, literally, lookership would be, the starting point of anything, because you have to see it. You have to see the text. You have to see the images. You have to see the hieroglyphs or the Sesh Netcher on the walls and this, that, and the third. So, you would start with lookership pretty much in any instance, but you should not end with lookership. You're not going to look at a book on a shelf and then come to a conclusion. You have to not only look at the book, maybe read the what they call it, the summary on the back of the book and everything like that. Check out the price and how many pages it is. Look at the table of contents. But you're only going to be able to come to a conclusion after you actually read the book. You dig into the book. So basically that's what that is. So to answer your question, lookership is lookership, but you shouldn't end with it. You shouldn't end with lookership. All right. So hopefully that will answer that question. Let's see. Keep on going. Donnie. Oh, Due Diligence says, where's the book? Okay, the book is located on Amazon. All right. And I believe Mikat probably has already posted the link, or will. Let's see. Keep on going. Donnie. Excuse me, not Donnie. Brother Donald. I wasn't surprised that you had a good turnout. You're a good teacher. Oh, okay, I appreciate that. I just do my best. And, people gravitate towards certain styles and things. I understand that, and I respect that of people. Certain people like the way I do things and what I do, and I appreciate that. Some people like the way other people do things and what they do. And, I respect that. Let's see. Oh yeah, Donald. Yeah. So I'm glad you were able to get it on Kindle, because I know you were saying that you didn't want the paperback. So yeah, grab that, and you can blow it up like how I just did, and check it out. But definitely read at your own pace, because we're meeting again Sunday. Now let me tell you all, if you want to jump on board, you're welcome to do so, and I wish you would do so. But the assignment that we gave everybody, the assignment that we all agreed to, was we were gonna read all the way up to section 2.2. Okay, so if you get the book now, it's never too late. So read up to section 2.2, and you have a whole week, and it's easy reading. Okay, so it's not like it's a lot. It's not a lot. All right, so read up to section 2.2, because that's what we're going to discuss. Okay, so Kofi Brown is saying false, but I have no idea what he's saying false to. Yes, that ham is not a real thing. Okay, I'm not sure what that is referring to. I can't find the free PDF. Please drop the link. Okay, if Emicat can post the link to Due Diligence. Now, the book is not free. The book club is free. The book is cost on Kindle. I think it's only $12. It's on Amazon. Okay, so if I misspoke, let me clarify that. The book club is free. what we're doing is free. Okay, the book, like I said, I don't have the book is not my book. I don't have any interest or stake in the book. The book is written by Matic, and it's available in paperback, I believe, for $20, but on Kindle you get it for $12, something like that. Okay, so if I confuse you, I apologize for that, but it's on Amazon. Matter of fact, let me just show you the title of it again. Just search for that title right there. All right, anything else? No, I'm caught up. So this is okay. Please let people know to join the corresponding group as well on the site as well that way. Okay. They can stay on top of things with other members on organizers regarding the book club at the Sesh. Yeah, so Emiket is telling me to read a comment, but I think she has to straighten that out. Put the comment on blast and it's like, read that comment, and then all of a sudden, goodness. That was crazy. Anyway, so all right, that's all I wanted to do. Hopefully you all will join us, this Sunday coming. Let's spread the word. This is a good thing. And if you want that learning environment and whatnot, sign up to Seba University. It's free. All right. The whole website is free, but different courses. We're going to be expanding, and we're looking for contributors. So if you have a specialty, if you have a focus, if you have competency in a certain area, and it doesn't have to be about Egypt now. So I don't want you all to get that impression that everything is all about Kemet or Egypt. Because notice that on there I have a Theory of Evolution 101. That's how come. See, I don't argue with people. I don't. You won't see me in debates. I will chime in on conversations, try to be the voice of reasoning, and try to ask those provocative questions that probe and force people to critically think. But in terms of debating, that's not what we see on in these YouTube streets. That's not debating. That's something different. That's people fussing matches and things that's being called debate. It's a misnomer. It's called debating, but we have to make progress. And so I'm not arguing back and forth with people. I will explain something maybe up to 3 times. I think that's probably my new limit. Explaining something up to 3 times, and after that, I just got to point you in a different direction. But so like the Theory of Evolution 101 that I have on the website, I did that because people wanted to argue over and over again over the same stuff, and they had a misunderstanding of what a theory was, a scientific theory was, and then evolution. People believe that evolution states that human beings come from monkeys and all this other kind of thing, when it doesn't. It doesn't say that. Then people believe that a theory is simply an opinion or a hunch or a guess, and that's not the case. All right. So instead of me dealing with that every single time, I put together a little questionnaire quiz after people to watch a video. I didn't produce the video. The video is the videos that are out there on YouTube, but I actually put together the quiz so that people will know whether they know the information or not. I'm like, listen, before you talk to me about evolution, go take that quiz. Pass that quiz first, then come talk to me. I'm telling you, that saves a whole lot of time. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to cover for today. And shout out to everyone who's tuned in now. And I look forward to those. Let me see. Ramza is definitely going on and on and on. Let's see what Ramza is talking about quickly here. MK, we all think you're pretty smart, but tunnel vision only, I guess she's mid tunnel vision. Tunnel vision only to Kemet isn't everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, so you all are definitely having your conversation. Don't know what that's related to. But yeah. So listen, our focus is has been Kemet, but there's other people that focus on other cultures. You got people who focus on Mesopotamian cultures such as Sumer, what you can gain from Sumerian studies, Akkadian studies. You got biblical people who talk about the Bible all day, every day. If that floats your boat, if that's interest of yours, then hey, seek that out definitely and take advantage of it. People who deal with other cultures on the continent of Africa. You got Yoruba, Igbo cultures, Isheshe, Ifa, Vodun. You got Dogon people who kind of focus on Dogon, pretty much. Hey, see anything that you're interested in, and that you're willing to carve out time for, then hey, go do it. Don't limit yourself. Go do that. You got West Africa and things like that, but do it like if you're gonna do it. Don't half step. Don't get caught up into the detrimental behaviors and bad character and all this other stuff that we see going on. If that entertains you, then so be it. But I'm just gonna say here, with me, speaking of for myself, me and stuff that I get involved with, I'm not for any of that. All right. So I don't want to be that saying, birds of a feather flock together, or guilty by association type of stuff. I understand those sayings. Those sayings have been, existing ever since before I was born. So I understand that. So I understand the challenge of getting involved to a degree, but not actually allowing that to shape the perception of who and what a person is and what they do. So I understand the challenge with that. And that's, you got to find that sweet spot. But just to be clear, people understand and know what time it is as far as what I do, what YouTube channel is all about, what the website, anything that I get involved with, people can see it for themselves. All right, what you see is definitely what you get. All right, we call it WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. All right. Anyway, with that, I'm going to definitely close out and give a shout out to everybody and say dua to everybody who tuned in. And I'll see y'all Sunday. But hey, I'm going to be live prior to that. We're going to talk about, some other subjects. Y'all recommend some things. If y'all have questions, put them in the comment section under this video right now. And then, go live. A lot of people hit me up with different questions. And they're similar questions. So I like to group the questions so I can answer them in one shot. Now, a previous video, probably one right before this live here, or maybe before that, I addressed questions that the brother James had from Pan African Designs. And I didn't see any evidence that he saw it, commented, or anything whatsoever. If I had to bet, I bet that he saw it because I put his name in there, and I was hoping that he would see it, and I did it for him to address some of the things. But I'm just saying this because that's an example of when people ask questions and I see a redundancy there, or I can group questions together, then I'll go live and I'll try my best to address them or, research and help people out. All right, but with that, I'm going to say Shem Hotep, and hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. And with that, I am out. So Shem Hotep.